Welcome to HR.com Live. This podcast is produced by HR.com, the #1 destination to help 1.7 million HR executives maximize human potential and drive extraordinary business results.
Good afternoon and welcome to HR.com Live. My name is Dr. Heidi Scott and I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at HR.com. My goal is to ensure that our learning ecosystem remains innovative by equipping HR professionals to be smarter so they can navigate their careers better. And I'll be your host for today. In this episode, we're going to be talking with Dr. Brandi Maynard about developing high potential employees. When Brandi's not enjoying the Pacific Northwest mountains on the back of her Kawasaki, she creates learning experiences that transform leaders. Through engaging stories, masterful facilitation, I've seen her in action, it's true. She has this really innate ability to create learning experiences that lead to continuous learning and lasting change. Brandi teaches others how to intentionally design interactive learning experiences within their organizations. So, Brandi, you are currently the Senior Manager of Professional Development and Training at K12 Inc. And I have to just say, I'm thrilled to have you here, not only because you're totally brilliant, one of the most brilliant people I know, and I like you so much. And we've known each other for 18 years, and we had the opportunity to work together that long ago. And from what I know of you, you were that high potential employee years ago. And look where you are today, Dr. Brandi Maynard. What were some ways that you were encouraged to develop?
It's all intrinsic. First of all, Heidi, it's so fun to be here with you. And to have walked some of this journey with you is so much fun because it's been intrinsic. It's something that was inside of me. And I realized at 30, I was wanting to get from step A, point A to point B, and what was it going to take to get there? And I went and talked to my mentor at the time and I said, Margot, what do? I want to do what you do. I want to grow and develop people. I want to speak. I want to present. Tell me what to do. And she said, Brandi, you either write a book or you get a PhD. I was on the phone to you within about 24 hours and saying, Heidi, let's get our PhD together. It'll be like a girls' night out. It'll be really, really fun.
I remember thinking, yeah, it might be a little harder than that.
And it was a little bit harder than that, but having that intellectual friend, that intellectual partner to walk the journey with is so, so important. And for me, it was that intrinsic motivation and then finding somebody to take the journey with. And whatever it was that came to my mind, knowing that those were the two things that I needed to do for myself to get from point A to point B.
So, what are some common characteristics of high potential employees? When you think about that, we've got a lot of HR professionals, we have HR leaders with us today, those that are focused on learning, those that are focused on, hey, if you're an HR leader today, what are the new HR leaders facing? And when I think about developing and retaining high potential employees, we first have to understand them. So, what are some common characteristics that we need to be on the lookout for?
That is a great question. And it's interesting because my career started in the classroom with gifted and talented kids. And I realized when I got into growing and developing people, these gifted and talented kids, they basically just grew up and they become these hypos, these high performance employees. And they have some of the same characteristics of gifted children, just as gifted adults. And what I found is one, that task commitment. And so really committing to the task at hand, knowing that they want to get from point A to point B and knowing how to get there. The second one is they have this high social intelligence or emotional intelligence. And so they really know how to relate to other people and they know how to connect with others and build relationship. And then the third is that ability. And so it's just that natural ability. I like to think of it as aptitude. So aptitude and appetite. And then the third thing is the whole social component.
Nice. So I think the risk is, keeping them engaged, keeping retaining this talent. So what do you recommend? What do high potential employees need?
I found that they need 5 things. And the first one is to become their ally. And so to walk alongside them in the journey and knowing that that they want to get farther and where they want to go, helping to understand that, and then being a friend and really forming that relationship because really it's all about relationship. So that's the first key. The second key is to be adaptable. And so to really differentiate the experience for them, to individualize the experience, and to help them to get to where they need to go in a way that's going to work for them. And I like to take a strengths-based approach to that. And so figuring out what those strengths are and then helping them to leverage those strengths. And then the third is to be an architect. And so, really, to be consistent in the way that you communicate with them. And for me, I like to have one on one check in meetings with the high potentials that I work with in my company, and to make sure that I am consistently meeting with them. They know what to expect when we have those meetings. I continue to hold them to high expectations and to architect an experience for them that I know is going to be gratifying and to help them to get to where they want to go. And then the next one is to be an aggregator. And so really, I like to think of it as a human aggregator. And when we were going through our program, you had these RSS systems where they would bring in all the articles that you needed to read and everything would be brought to you. I think about this almost like a human aggregating system. So you're bringing in the best print, digital, and human resources to help that person learn and grow. And so what you need to do as somebody who's sponsoring this person or to help them learn and grow is you need to make sure that you are well read, that you have the resources at your fingertips, that you're being innovative, and that you're trying new things as well. And then the final thing is to give them agency. And so not allowing them to be a victim, but having them to have enough agency that they can positively move where they want to go and take themselves there.
I think that last piece, they all resonate with me, but I think sometimes might be frightening to an HR leader. I mean, as a leader of people, to open kind of the floodgates of where do you want to go can be a little frightening. But if you can do it, you're going to most likely see rewards from that person that even you didn't know were reachable. Um, what are your thoughts as you were going through those recommendations of ways to encourage the high potential employees? I couldn't help but think about, in your experience, which one of those do you think is most challenging for leaders to implement, either because we don't understand or because it's frightening? What do you see, and how could you can you identify it and then give us a strategy to motor around that challenge?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that we can all agree on is it's that willingness to be transparent and to be vulnerable.
Mm,
Because when we're coming into relationship with people, we have to be vulnerable with them. We have to take the time to build that relationship. And that's not easy. And it takes being brave. And it takes, maybe even saying to that person, I've said this to people before, I don't want this to change our relationship, but there's something that I have to talk with you about.
mm.
And then being honest about it and being vulnerable and being brave. And I think that that's the number one thing that we can do in helping people get to where they need to go is our willingness to be brave, but then inviting them into that space as well. And we can only do that through trust. And so building a relationship of trust where they know that they are safe, they know that they can share things with me. We can be real with one another, and I will give them my honest opinion because we all need somebody else that's going to be honest and to be real with us. Everybody needs that person. You and I are going to get done with this today, Heidi. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is, Heidi, how did I do? Everybody asks it. It's what we do. We want to be the very best at what we're doing. And people need that too. They need that safe space. I was working with somebody yesterday and coaching and developing him. And he said to me, I said, what is it that you need? And he said, what I need from you is I need to be able to continue to be fully transparent with you and fully real with you because I don't have anybody else that I can talk to these things
Mm.
about. Because when you're a leader, especially at the executive level, you have to be really careful about the lines that you walk. And he just needed a safe space and he wanted to be pushed. And he knows that iron sharpens iron. And he just asked for that safe space and that transparency and that vulnerability and the ability to do that. And those are the richest relationships that you're going to have.
So as we wrap up, Brandy, what is there anything else that you want to share with us? Kind of some parting thoughts.
You got it. So one of the things, I work in a virtual organization and we're not face to face often. And so one of the ways that I really share with people is to connect with them virtually. And I have a few tips and tricks that I want to share because I think we're kind of moving in that direction. So the first one is I learned how to set text messages that are on delay delivery. I didn't even realize that you could do that, and I use it regularly. And so I will share a article with your readers that was written by one of my high potentials on how to do that, how to schedule those messages. And it's great because you don't have to remember what it is that they tell you maybe in a one-on-one meeting. If they tell you that they're going to a wedding this weekend, they're really looking forward to it, and they're making 50 cupcakes, I might go in and I might type in to my text messenger a message asking them for pictures the day of, and then they get that. And again, it builds that virtual presence and that relationship that I want to have with them. So it's a great little tool. The other thing that I've been using lately is just it's a little tip in self-care. It's this app that I have on my phone. It's called Daylio, Daylio. And I like it because I went to Marcus Buckingham talk, and he was talking about tracking the things in your work that you love and you loathe. And I thought, oh, I could track my mood and see where the peaks and the valleys are coming in. And what I'm finding is the time that I spend with my family, the time that I spend on coaching calls or presenting or learning are those peaks. And then the time that I spend putting classes into the LMS are the valleys. And so really, how do you begin to take your work and reorchestrate it so that you're living in those strength areas more often than not? So that's been really helpful to me as well. So I'll send you the link for both of those.
No, I'd love to see. I know we would all love to see. And then when I think about my bookshelf, I want to know what's on your bookshelf. What are you reading, and what do you recommend that we as HR leaders should be reading and learning about?
The thing that I'm reading right now is a book called The Free Thinker's Guide to the Real World: 9 Lies About Work. And again, I mentioned earlier that I went to Marcus Buckingham and was listening to him, and he was talking a lot about strengths-based leadership. And then he was talking about the lies that we believe as leaders, and it's just the way that we think that it is. So for one, we think that it's really important. The company that you work for is really important. And these authors go in to say, no, it's not the company, it's the team that's important. And it makes sense when you think about it. You don't leave a company, you leave a team. And then another lie that was in here is that people are well-rounded, and people aren't well-rounded. They tend to be spiky. And then what we need to do in growing, developing, and coaching them is to really help them to leverage those strengths, those spike areas that they're doing really well in. And this book shows us how to do that. And I really, really like this because I like the free thinking part of it because it makes you think outside of the box and be more innovative.
That'll be on my shelf soon. Well, hey, thank you, Brandy. Thanks you so much for taking your time and sharing your experience and expertise with us and insights. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And don't forget to check out our archived episodes. This will become one of them. And we release new episodes every day. So be sure and check back to see everything that's up to date on all things HR. So have a great day, and cheers to you.
Thank you for listening to HR.com Live. We have new episodes daily to help you maximize your potential. Be sure to check out our archives on HR.com and share it with your friends. Cheers.